Hello, we often get offered pianos to sell in our showroom by other restorers, and normally that works very well. We try and double check before we get the piano, but this one's been delivered to us recently, and unfortunately we're going to have to send it back because it's not up to standard. And I want to try and explain why. It's a Steinway Model O, 5 foot 10.5 inches long. I've just reviewed one which we have got in stock, which is fine, but this one has got specific problems which I'm going to try and show on the video. Now, when we're testing pianos, the first place to test is around this singing area. Is there much variety? And straight away there's a variety, and very often is on pianos, between this side of the break and that side. Common on Steinways, even more common on Bechstein, so they've got to be vetted. If that's the case, then you can increase the down bearing on the bridge, which improves it. But from experience, you won't completely eradicate that, though it may end up rendering it acceptable. But what I found too on this is that middle C here, around this area, is extremely thin. Here's a Bluthner we have in stock. Nice round sound. And here's a Bechstein. Now back to the Steinway. Once more the Bluthner. And the Bechstein. So it's a full sound and resonates right through the whole piano. And the Steinway again just doesn't carry. I thought it might be the down bearing. This is a homemade down bearing gauge made by our technical staff for me. I should get a proper one to show you, really. Sorry about that. I can't find it in the workshop. But there is very little down bearing here, maybe 0.5 millimetre. You put a gauge under there, press it back, and then you can put a gauge under to see how much down bearing there is. Not a huge amount on this piano. Here's the Bechstein next to it, and more down bearing. I'm sorry you can't really see it on the video, but you can see it rocking anyway, and that shows you there's down bearing. And the Bluthner actually doesn't have any more down bearing than the Steinway. If anything, slightly less, just only a little. So down bearing does vary on pianos. I'm not an expert at down bearing. I just know when it's not there, and my technical staff it's always a question of which piano has down bearing. Nowadays they make pianos, a Phoenix system put in pianos, for instance, which means there's no down bearing, makes the soundboard reverberate better, they say. So if you're a piano restorer and had a lot of experience with this, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that, not having, because normally when we do get these pianos sent to us for us to sell in Oxford, we would have to refine them a lot usually, but we can take them on at least, and this one I don't think we can, unfortunately. Now, we were also shocked as this one arrived totally unregulated, well, not totally unregulated, but very badly regulated. As you can see, the hammers are at totally different levels. If we look at these hammers here, and also they're not regulated properly to the piano generally. I'm just showing you part of it now, but there's a lot of mistakes in the regulation. Just work really, refining it, but also if we look at the action, only the hammers have been changed here. The shanks and the rollers haven't been changed. That's this, sorry, the rollers have, but not the shanks. Probably the technician thought, well, the hinges are tight, but in fact, if you drop them here, the hinges are actually too loose, so you won't be able to get a very good touch, really, a very refined touch. So hammer shanks and rollers, as we mentioned hundreds of times, is what's necessary. The felts have been changed here, but then the bottom action, the one I've just previously videoed to this one, has the bottom action changed as well, the levers. Not necessarily essential to do that, but it does show you that a lot of time and effort's been spent, and this one definitely not. So we could obviously regulate it. The voicing of the hammers isn't too bad, but the main problem is obviously the down bearing. We just got to reject the piano, unfortunately. We do like taking on pianos. If you've got a piano that's excellent and you feel that we can help you to sell it, then please let us know, and we'll see if we can help. So that's assessment of this Steinway Model O Grand, which we've been offered early 1900s to sell for the person who's offered for the restorer. But it's something we often do get offered, so if you've got one and you think it's something we could help with, we'd be delighted to. Some things I didn't mention: the Steinway pedal is far too stiff, which is typical Steinway pedal, so we can sort that out though. But there's also something I didn't mention, which is this very sticky keys. So it's just not been finished off properly. Not only does it not have enough down bearing, or whatever the problem is with the tone not dissipating throughout the whole piano, especially in the middle area. Really the whole of the singing area is not up to scratch. They haven't changed the shanks, which is something we would look for, we always do ourselves, or nearly always, and the keys are very sticky, so that's another sign it's just not been finished off properly. The regulation is very, very bad. I didn't show you that, but the hammer there's no aftertouch on it at all. So there's a huge amount for us to do if we were to take it on, but we're not going to, because of the fact that we can't improve that around this area. Unfortunately, it's quite common for this to be the case in Steinways we find restored elsewhere. But hopefully we don't get them ourselves. We have to reject them and send them back if we do. So in this case, it's a sad case of having to reject it, which is a shame, because obviously the piano's been moved here in the first place, and it's a lot of effort to take it back again. You can see the sticky keys here. There we are. And several black ones sticking as well, several sharps. But just and the weighting's not right. There's so many things to do, really. The piano may look good, may look perfect, but there certainly is a lot of work to get it refined. So I don't know what to say. I hope that's useful to whoever's watching this, and thank you very much for listening.